Hi, I'm Martin from Black Dog.
And I'm Richard from Black Dog.
For the Vexations, I think it's more accessible, whereas work that we were doing on Radio Scarecrow was less accessible on first play, but on repeatable play it is. And I think Further Vexations is a bit more obvious. Would that be a true statement?
The musical elements coming through, because there's more layers in the music production now, whereas Radio Scarecrow was very stripped down.
Yeah.
Very minimal in places. Hate to use the word minimal, but we've had a couple of diverse reactions to it, like people saying it's darker, yet I've been thinking it was lighter and more musical.
Yeah.
And Martin thinks it's more clubby, but then
other
people come back and say the opposite.
I think compared to like looking back over the last 20 years and history of Black Dog, I think it's as clubby as we're ever going to get.
Yeah.
And that's just simply a product of playing in clubs, really. So a lot of our concerns with this album about personal freedoms and personal rights that are being eroded. Like biometrics, closed-circuit TV, data mining, and everything else. So, I mean, for me, I think it was less negative than kind of. Well, it's more negative than Radio Scarecrow.
I think it's more focused in its idea. We had a very clear set of things that were worrying us and troubling us this time.
Yeah, which is why it's called Further Vexations. And a lot of people have said that it's a continuation of what we started on Radio Scarecrow, but I don't see that connection, but other people do. There is quite a lot that gets on us wick, but I don't think that means that you've got to make everything joyless. I think there is still a celebration of humanity in there, and there is still a joy of people getting the point and standing up against everything, and like the G20 riots and things like that, and you see people being filmed and you see people being exposed for oppression that's going on, and you see people kicking back and not accepting that closed-circuit TV cameras and everything else works for the best of the community. And I think that there is, I guess, both sides, and we've tried to judge that, but it is quite discerning that right-wing politics, particularly in Sheffield, which is a working class city, pretty much like Glasgow, we've seen a massive uprise in that, and that's quite worrying to us. That people are actually listening to people like National Front and BNP and starting to vote for them. think one of the advantages of doing things without vocals means that you can give clues in song titles and vocal samples, but you're not being exactly like Billy Bragg and laying it down and saying, well, this is where we're going to nail as colours to mast and make it really, really obvious. And I think the fact that the music can mean different things to different people is still quite interesting, but the message from us, I think, is still quite the same. It's still there, that we don't accept this and we don't want it, and we think you should do something about it. Because we're wondering how many rights have got to be eroded before people actually kick off and have a riot, and we're probably too old to be involved in that, but I think we would be passing bricks. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take, and that worries me a great deal, that everything is being removed. Nobody seems to be worried about anything. Political parties don't seem to stand for anything, and they've got more and more beige because they realise if they do stand for anything, people can pull them up on it, and it just all seems to have merged into one big blob. I guess there's a contradiction and there's a paradox there, because I think when dance music started, it had a really good opportunity with ecstasy for people to learn empathy, to identify with other people, and pretty much like acid with hippies, people haven't learned anything from it. They've not learned a sense of community, and they've not learned to empathise with the people that are struggling, and to have patience and to be understanding, and that's quite disappointing. But I guess in dance music, it's got to be more about a party now, and you've got to think, and you can still have a really good time dancing to stuff, but there's got to be some positive action out of it, at the end of it for us.